Assalamualaikum, dear my friends blessed by Allah. In today's video, I want to tell you the story of a very poor person and a chest of 1,000 dinars. This story is narrated by Al-Imam Ath-Thabari because he witnessed this story from beginning to end about an old poor man who found 1,000 dinars. It is important to know, my friends, that these dinars are made from pure gold coins, and of course, this is a huge amount. The story goes like this. In the city of Mecca, there lived an old man who was very poor. He lived in a house made of clay, and because he was so poor, there were no household items in his house. He couldn't afford to buy anything. He couldn't even afford things like a chair or a table, and it was hard for them to even get food. This man lived with 8 other people in the house: his wife, his mother and mother-in-law, his sister, and 4 daughters, all of whom were women. This old man was the sole breadwinner in the family. His job was to find money to feed himself and his 8 family members. One day, this old man was about to leave his house to find money to buy food for breaking the fast for his family. So he left, accompanied by a prayer from his wife, hoping that her husband would get sustenance for their family. This man wandered around the city of Mecca, hoping to find someone who needed his services or anything else, perhaps lifting goods or other tasks, so that he could earn money for his family. After a long time of walking, however, no one needed his help, and he became tired and decided to return home without a single penny to buy food. When he arrived home, his wife asked, "Oh, my husband, is there no food for us to eat for breaking the fast?" "We don't have any food stored." Hearing this, the old man got up again, and for the second time, he left the house, hoping this time he would find sustenance. He walked back and forth, praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hoping to be provided with either money or food. However, his efforts did not bear fruit. Exhausted, he sat under a tree, intending to rest. As he sat, his hand accidentally touched a box. Curious, he lifted the box and intended to open it. The box resembled the kind used by wealthy people to store their gold or coin money. He opened the box and found many dinar coins inside. The old man was shocked. At that moment, the temptation to take some of the money crossed his mind. With the whisper of Satan, "You are poor, and even if you don't take all of it, take at least 1 dinar to feed your wife and children at home. They are waiting with empty stomachs." For a moment, the old man was almost tempted by the whisper of Satan. He stood up, lifted the box, and immediately secured the money, intending to take it home. Since there was no one around at the time who could tell him who the owner of the box was, he decided to bring it home. When he arrived home, his wife asked, "Oh, my husband, did you find food for us?" The old man remained silent. His wife noticed the box in his hand and then asked, "What is that you are carrying, my husband?" The old man intended to keep the box a secret from everyone, fearing that something bad might happen if someone knew what was inside, including his wife. Then the old man said to his wife, "By Allah, this is none of your business." His wife replied, "I ask you in the name of Allah to explain what is inside the box." Since his wife invoked the name of Allah, the old man then told her everything, from beginning to end, and showed her the contents of the box. His wife was shocked when she saw so much gold inside the box. As a poor woman, seeing such a large amount of gold, she naturally felt tempted. Then she said to her husband, "Well, then we can use this gold for food because we are very poor, and this is wealth from Allah that you found." The old man replied, "No, my wife, by Allah, we cannot use this wealth unless we have announced it for 1 year." What he meant was that if we find something valuable that we do not know who it belongs to, as Muslims, we are required to announce the found item for 1 year continuously. If no one claims it within that year, only then can we use or keep the found property. This is what is called lukata. We continue with the story. His wife once again tried to persuade her husband. She said, "If that's the case, at least let's take one of these dinar coins to buy food for breaking our fast today. It's halal for us in our very poor condition, where we cannot do anything to earn money, especially since you have to support 8 women in this house by providing for them." Hearing this, her husband was momentarily softened, but he remained firm in his decision. He said, "Wife, not by Allah. If you touch this box and take anything from it, even just 1 dinar coin, by Allah, I will divorce you." His wife was shocked upon hearing these words, indicating that her husband was serious, so she did not dare to oppose him. At that time, the box was placed in their house. He dug a hole in the ground and placed the box inside it to keep it safe from irresponsible people. Finally, it was time to break the fast, and since the man had not obtained anything that day, the entire family of 9 people broke their fast with only water. The next morning, after the Fajr prayer at the Masjid al-Haram, the old man had indeed intended to announce the discovery of the box that same day. But suddenly, at that moment, he saw a man from Khurasan climb onto a rock near Masjid al-Haram, shouting loudly. The Khurasani man said, "O Muslims, O servants of Allah, I have lost a box containing 1,000 gold dinars. Whoever finds it, please return it to me, and may Allah reward you with blessings, forgiveness, elevation of rank, and so on." It turned out that the old man heard that the Khurasani man was looking for the box he had found yesterday. However, in his heart, the old man also needed even just a small amount of gold dinars from the box. It was not impossible that he hoped that if he returned the box, he would receive a reward from the Khurasani man. At that moment, the old man said, "O Khurasan, if anyone has found it, how much will you give them?" The Khurasan man replied, "How much do you think they would want?" The old man said, "At least give them half of it." The Khurasan man said, "That is not possible." The old man replied, "Then give whatever you want. Maybe just 1/10 of it. 1/10 here means 100 dinars. Then the Khurasani man replied, "Still not possible. I will return it for the sake of Allah, and I pray that they will receive reward from Allah." The old man was silent and thought, "I am poor, and I am very old. My age is almost 70 years. My body is weak, and I have to be the breadwinner for 8 family members. I only hope for a little of this money." But the Khurasan man did not want to give even a single coin. The old man then returned home and told his wife about this. "Wife, I have found who the owner of the box full of gold is," said the old man. His wife replied, "Alhamdulillah, that's good. So, what happens next?" He replied, "I asked for something in return, but he didn't want to give us anything. He only wants to pray for them. That's all." His wife seemed sad upon hearing this and said, "O my husband, why don't you go back to him and negotiate? Perhaps he will change his mind and give us even a small reward for our family." The next day, he met the Khurasani man again and asked the same question. But the Khurasan man remained firm and still did not want to share any of the wealth in the box. On the 3rd day, he met the Khurasani man. The Khurasani man was shouting loudly from the rock and calling out the same thing. The old man then said, "O Khurasan, I already told you yesterday to give a reward. Maybe someone will return the box." The Khurasani man asked, "Uncle, how much reward should I give?" The old man answered, "I told you yesterday, at least 1/10 of the 1,000 dinars." The Khurasani man replied, "No, uncle, I don't want to." The old man then said again, "If so, give just 1 dinar as the reward." Half can be used to feed the people around Masjid al-Haram, and the other half can be used to feed our family." The Khurasani man paused for a long time and was silent, then said, "No, uncle, by Allah, it was truly remarkable that the Khurasani man still refused to share any of the wealth, and he only wanted to pray for the person who returned the box." The Khurasani man wanted the box to remain intact, with all its value preserved. With a heavy heart, the old man returned home and told his wife about the situation. "This man truly does not want to give any reward, not even 1 dinar," he said. His wife, saddened, asked, "What will you do next?" He replied, "I have already decided to return it. Let's just return the box intact. May Allah, the Almighty, resolve our problem." Brothers and sisters that blessed by Allah, Imam at-Tabari, who narrated this story, knows well the chronology of the events, and he was present throughout the story. On the 4th day, since he had already intended to return the box, the old man met the Khurasani youth and said, "O Khurasan, you want your box. I know where your box is." The Khurasani man replied, "Okay, uncle, I will follow you. Please lead me to my box." Imam at-Tabari, who witnessed this event, said, "Finally, the three of us walked to the old man's house along with the Khurasani youth. When we arrived at the house, there was a very small house with walls made of clay. From the outside, this house looked unfit to live in. It looked as though it could collapse, and if there were a strong wind, the house would fall. The roof was made of torn cloth stacked to shield from the harsh sunlight. Perhaps if it rained, water would seep into the house. From the outside, it was clear that this was the house of someone very poor. Finally, the old man invited the Khurasani man to enter the house. Imam at-Tabari asked, "Excuse me, uncle, may I come in as well? I have been watching this story from the beginning." The old man said, "Yes, come in." So the three of them entered the house. To their astonishment, the house was empty. There was nothing inside at all, not even a chair or carpet. The house only had a partition separating the living room from a small bedroom. Behind the bedroom, there were a few elderly women peeking out, wanting to witness the event. Imam at-Tabari and the Khurasani man saw the elderly women peeking, and it was evident they were very poor, as shown by their appearance and the clothes they wore. Then the old man said, "These are my wife, my mother-in-law, and my daughters, all of whom are women. I am the only man in this house and the breadwinner for my family. And do you know that this shirt I am wearing is the best shirt I have? When it's time for prayer, I will pray first, and then I take off this shirt and give it to my wife so she can wear it for prayer. After she prays, the shirt is passed on to the other family members. We are so poor that even for decent clothes, we only have one set." Hearing the sorrowful story from the old man, the Khurasani man was silent. The old man hoped that the Khurasani man's heart would be moved and that he would give some reward for the box he found. The old man then went to one corner of his house, dug up the ground, and found the box with the 1,000 dinars inside. He lifted the box and handed it to the Khurasani man. The old man still hoped for some reward from the Khurasani man and said, "I am the one who found the box. I have asked for a reward. As you can see, my family is very poor. I am almost 70 years old, and my wife is old as well, as are my mother and mother-in-law. I am the one who supports my family. Don't you feel sorry for us?" But the Khurasani youth said, "No, I will not give you anything except for prayers." The Khurasani youth then opened the box, counted the money, and found it was still intact, with 1,000 dinars inside. He took the box, got up, and left the house with the box. Imam at-Tabari said, "The elderly women who witnessed this were shocked and disappointed. How could someone be so heartless? He had received the 1,000 dinars, but not a single coin was given as a reward. Imam at-Tabari continued, I actually wanted to help this family, but I had nothing at the time. I was still very young when this event took place. What's amazing is that the old man only said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, indeed, to Allah we belong and to Him we return. This is a calamity. He had safeguarded the money and was truly honest, not taking even a single coin from the box because he feared Allah, the Almighty. All the family members, including Imam at-Tabari, felt weak witnessing this event. They exchanged glances without saying a word. Suddenly, not long after that, there was a knock on the door. The old man opened the door, and it turned out that the Khurasani man had returned with the box containing the 1,000 dinars in his hands. The old man asked, What is it, O Khurasan? The man replied, Uncle, may I come in? The old man invited him in, and then the Khurasani man began to tell the story. Uncle, let me tell you this. I have a father. He left behind 3 boxes of gold like this, each containing 1,000 dinars. Before he passed away, he left a will. 1 box you give as zakat to the poor, 1 box you use to perform hajj, and the last box you give to a very poor person who is suffering. I want to improve their life. That is why, uncle, I will not give you a single dinar, because this is a trust from my parents. After I saw your house and your family, and after I saw that when I left your house, you did not become angry and curse me, I realized that you are the one who deserves this box the most. Therefore, I am giving this box containing 1,000 dinars to you, uncle. Please accept it on behalf of my father. The Khurasani man then placed the box down and left, running out of the house. The old man tried to chase him to thank him, but he could not because the Khurasani man was already far away. Imam at-Tabari said, I was then called by the old man into the house, and he called his 8 family members as well. The box was opened, and the dinar coins were distributed evenly, including to Imam at-Tabari, who received 100 dinars. Each person then received 100 dinars. After the distribution was completed and everything was shared, the old man said to his wife, Oh, my wife, isn't this better? After we were patient for a while, Allah made all of this ours, rather than if you had taken a single dinar, and it would have been haram. Imam at-Tabari then narrates, a few years later, I came back to Mecca, and I went to the old man's house at the same address. However, the house was no longer there. I asked the neighbors, and they told me that the old man had passed away. I found out that his 4 daughters had married prominent, wealthy figures in Mecca, and they had all become very rich. That is the story of the poor man in the box of 1,000 dinars. I hope this story is beneficial. Any shortcomings or mistakes are from me personally as a human being. The truth comes from Allah, the Almighty. I end here, and I hope to meet you again in future stories filled with meaning. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.